Good evening, you beautiful people, and welcome back to episode 9 of the DVP, the Dan Vikas program, brought to you by myself, your host, Dan Vikas. I want to go over a couple of things that I've jotted down, notes that I took away from a keynote speech by Phil M. Jones, who I had the opportunity to meet and obviously be a part of the listening crowd. I've got them here. I'm just going to share them with you. It seems to be the most effective way to do it because I've been trying to talk through it a couple of times and it hasn't worked. So here we go. This is what you get. One of the first things he said that struck my mind was, your success is in direct correlation to the quantity of quality asks that you make in life. Next. Fear is not false evidence appearing real, as many professionals have probably heard. So don't try to redefine it, but fear in and of itself is the fertilizer of growth. And he gave a little context. He said, everyone, everywhere is at least somewhat good at something that they were once upon a time at least a teensy bit scared of. And it's highly probable that the thing that you're actually pretty good at now, at one time, you were a little bit afraid to do, afraid to show, afraid to lean into. If you're scared, it means you're growing in the right direction. You're pushing yourself. That was second point. Third. At best, he said one thing he's learned about traveling and speaking to people is that no one actually knows what they're doing. And I always think of I forget his name, and I mean absolutely no disrespect by this reference, but it's the only way I can reference him. He's the real estate agent in New York, as famous with snow white hair. He's a young guy, but snow white hair. You probably know who I'm talking about. I always think of his quote where he's like, oh yeah, man, my life expanded exponentially the moment I realized that no one has any clue what the heck they're doing, and they're just going for it. The difference between those people that make stuff happen and the people that don't is the fact that some people realize, I don't know what I'm doing, I have no idea what's going on, but I'm just going to go for it. So Phil was like, hey, listen, I have learned the same thing. At best, third point, at best, people are doing the best they can with what they've got to help the people they care about using the resources that are available to them at the time. That's it. I'll repeat that. People are doing the best they can with what they've got to help the people they care about using the resources they have available at the time. That's it. And it doesn't matter what instance, what circumstance, people are just doing what they can to help the people they care about with whatever they've got. Next one, fourth point. He offered a challenge. He's like, can you go one day without giving any advice? At first, when I heard that, I was like, well, yeah, that's easy. And then he got a little bit more into how quickly we can listen to people. And as soon as they begin to talk and tell us about something, oh, I can solve that. I can fix that, especially as dudes. Oh, my goodness. Myself included. So that's not pointing a finger at nobody. But as he talked through it, that challenge, the magnitude of that challenge became more evident. And he said, a little caveat, he said, as fast as today's world moves, our superpower is our ability to slow things down to get clarity. So challenge, go one full day without giving any single piece of advice. Not even so much as, now if someone asks you directly, hey, which way is the train station? Yeah, you can tell them. But not even so much as, oh man, you should try this or you should do that. Nothing. Go one full day without giving any single piece of advice. Just see if you can. Fifth point. Empathy, simply put, is to care about what the people you care about. Doesn't have to be more complicated than that. What else we got here? This is a note that I made, not something he said, but inspired by his conversations. Humans are beautifully curious creatures, but we are highly skeptical of change, of something that might bring along discomfort. The proof of this is how many people can relate to the fact that you started watching something, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. You started watching something that you had no interest in. It didn't add any value to your life. In no way. None whatsoever. We started watching it. Then you find yourself 3 seconds in, then 3 minutes in, then 30 minutes in, and then somehow you've developed this emotional connection to this car that was totaled, that you didn't know existed beforehand, but now you're watching someone rebuild it. And the problems are now so interesting until, all the way it's done at the end. There is no threat, there's no discomfort in watching that, in engaging with that. But there is a gap, there's a curiosity gap that was created. Our attention was grabbed because a curiosity gap was created in our mind. We are incredibly curious creatures. That is how we're designed, because we're designed as creators. And to create, we have to see a purpose. And sometimes just that the sole purpose is the life and the enjoyment that comes flowing out of us. But to create, we're naturally curious. They're two sides of the same coin, they go together. And so we're always curious, but as human beings, myself included, we're highly skeptical of change or of things that might bring along some form of discomfort. And so when it comes to influencing people, leading people, if you're in the business of helping other people change or influencing behavior, encouraging change, you have to take a step back and allow yourself the opportunity to learn the context of someone else's situation, so that you might, and I don't know where the end of that sentence is, I wrote it down, but you have to allow yourself the opportunity to learn the context of somebody's situation. Essentially, so that you can ask more curious questions, empathetic questions, and courageous questions. That's what it boils down to. Because there's only 3 reasons. Here we go. There's only 3 reasons that people move or that they change. We're incredibly curious. We're skeptical of things that might bring discomfort or create friction. And there are really only 3 things that are going to make someone move, or why people move. There's only 3 reasons we move. It's to run towards something, to run away from something, or to do something that lights them up inside. And when it comes to making a decision, whether that's inspired by running towards something, running away from something, or doing something that lights us up, we first have to make that decision in our mind's eye. We have to see ourselves doing it. It becomes our motivation. Not because we need motivation to act, but because motivation literally means a reason to move. And so to motivate yourself, to motivate somebody else, is to just find your own reason to move. Find their reason to move. And if you can narrow that down, if you can zoom in on that, if you can find that, focus that, then you can begin to play that reel in your mind. Because those decisions are first made in our mind. And once you can see yourself doing it, or you can help someone else see themselves doing it, then movement begins, then motivation is found. You have that reason to move. Ask better questions, listen more thoughtfully, and be genuine in conversation. The worst time, he started his conversation this way, the worst time to think about what you're going to say is when you have to say it. Which is funny because I've planned my notes here while I'm still working out how to articulate it. So clearly very much work in progress. I'm learning this as I'm sharing it with you. But I found it valuable and I wanted to share it with you. So that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. I hope you have found some sort of value in that. And this has been a rather short episode of the DVP, but in true perfect form and fashion, imperfect action is better than inaction. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your attention. God bless. Have a lovely evening, and I'll talk to you soon.